As we saw in section 3.1, however, Pierre Humbert's original analysis of English denied any validity to this distinction and regarded the nuclear accent as nothing more than as a last accent of the phrase. Specifically, Pierre Humbert rejected the head nuclear style division. Contours strings of accent generated by the finite stage grammar in figure 3.1. Pierre Humbert did continue to refer informally to the last accent in the sequence as the nuclear accent. She also acknowledged a substantial correspondence between the British taxonomy of nuclear tone types and what for her are sequences of the last accent and the following phrase accent and boundary tone. Nevertheless, she denied the notion of nucleus and any formal status in the theory, and this view was initially widely accepted by others in AM tradition. It is wrong. It is worth nothing, however, that Pierre Humbert's argument against the nucleus is in effect mostly an argument against the head of the British tradition, an arrangement that follows from her argument against global contour shapes. That is, Pierre Humbert denies that the head is an identifiable component of a contour's primarily because traditional British descriptions of the head are often expressed in terms of global shapes. As I have argued elsewhere, it is important to distinguish argument against the head as a global shape from argument against the head as a substring that precedes the obligatory nucleus. It is entirely possible to distinguish the nucleus from other accent, and hence to recognize implicitly the existence of the head without abandoning Pierre Humbert's basic assumption that intonation controls the strength of pitch accent tones. There is no deep incompatibility between Ames' assumption about pitch and the idea that the nucleus has a special status. This is because the true basis of the special status of the nucleus is its primarians. The fact that it is the only obligatory pitch accent in the phrase. This is what gives it an important role in signaling pragmatically prominent words and constituents, as we shall see further in chapter 6 and 7. This conception of the nucleus is made more plausible by the revised Beckman-Pierre Humbert conception of the phrase accent as the edge tone for the intermediate phrase, which means that the nuclear accent is the last accent in the intermediate phrase, not the intonational phrase. We can therefore easily talk of local peak of relative prominence defined within short string of accents, even in a longer utterance. The fundamental compatibility of the notion of nuclear accent with other AM assumptions has increasingly been acknowledged in the literature. It is now common to find references to nuclear accent, and as noted in section 3.1.2, The online TOEIC training materials not only explicitly define the nuclear accent as the last accent in the intermediate phrase, but state that it is more prominent or more salient than pre-nuclear accent. The British tradition, the terminology is substantially refined in accordance with AM assumptions, but the basic descriptive insight that every intermediate phrase has its own peak of prominence is related. We will return to this issue in Chapter 7 when we consider the phonological aspect of phrasing and prominence. For the rest of the section, we deal with issues that are more clearly about pitch. That's interesting. Okay.